Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Market Check brought to you by Because Bitcoin. I am not your normal host, Snorlax, but I am a normal face that you're seeing here on Market Check. Now, the title of today's stream is Will It Be a Bloody September? Well, it's certainly starting to look like it. I will say this there's a lot to talk about today. We have a lot of different fractals that we as a team have been observing. And the big question is it's September 1st. One, is it going to be a bloody red month? And two, will you even get the opportunity to short? Will there be any squeezes? Will there be any bounces? Or is it literally just going to be some sort of cascade? Specifically talking about crypto equities, it's a little bit different in my opinion, but things are starting off relatively hot here. I mean, it is a Friday, but it is September 1st, which has historically for equities been our worst month. Going back to 1985, September is the only red month for QQQ on average. Out of all 12 months, the only red month on average going back to 1985. And for Bitcoin going back to 2010, September is one of two really horribly bloody months. The only one that's actually worse than September historically has been August, which of course we just finished and we know was pretty bad, but lots to discuss today. I want to get right into the charts, kind of prospect how we handle what we're seeing right now. Is it too early to try to chase a short here? Do you want to try to wait for, the early shorts to kind of play out and then maybe the late shorts to get squeezed before entering? But anyways, Tucker, walk me through what you're seeing here in the charts, man. It looks like you're playing around with Bitcoin, maybe prospecting a little bit lower than here, huh?
Yeah, playing around with it a little bit here. I mean, look, we've talked about this. Man, it's happening in real time right now. That's awesome. We talked about this the other day, right? This was this was fully just a news driven pump, perps, squeeze. We retraced the whole thing. We said in here, or I was saying the other day in here, that Asia was not buying it. Asia was not buying it at all. Did not care about grayscales when we nuked. Obviously, looking right here, I think we could, potentially hang out here for longer. It doesn't mean we have to go down immediately, but I mean, it looks a little bleak right now. I think obviously I have this marked out. We at least should come. There we go. We at least should come sweep this wick. It's probably going to happen in about 10 seconds here, maybe not. But at any rate, I think you gotta come. There was the Phantom Bybit wick right down here, like 24.2, I believe, somewhere in there. So we'll label that Bybit wick. I think that needs to get got. I think it needs to get got. So I don't know. I mean, Will said, everybody on here said before, if you break 25, we're probably going a lot lower. I'm of the belief we have to get this Bybit wick, which implies breaking 25. So, in that event, I think we probably go a lot lower, right? I know Will and I have both been looking at this wick, but there's also a CME gap in here. So I'd say anywhere there or lower. I mean, like, what is that, 21.5? That would be like, that's probably where I'd take my like TP2 out of 3, honestly. But yeah, no, that's where I'm looking for lower. But yeah, it looks a little weak here.
Filling the wick too, Tucker, like that. I mean, that would only be like a deviation, right? If you were to come down and fill that entire move all the way down there to the low. The one thing I wanted to
Yeah,
point out with this price is like this is your inverse head and shoulders. I don't think anybody noticed that. Like you're at the neckline of the inverse head and shoulders,
where
and
where draw it out or tell me where to put it.
so you got your left shoulder over there on the left. If you put it on the weekly, it's actually easier to see on that.
Okay, one sec. Let me get this off.
And then
Okay.
just spread out that low there, spread it out a little more. Actually, it is on a daily, my bad. I guess you can kind of see a little bit there, but if you scroll down just a little bit there, like that's why your 25K was so significant, right? You got that double touch there, and when you get a double touch, like
And this.
yep, exactly. And that's why, like, when I pointed this out, I caught this at the high, right? When we double tapped the 25K. So at that 25K position, I looked for the reversal back down to that, basically that left shoulder high. And that's exactly where we came back to. Overall, we're coming back to retest that, right? And now, did we retest it in a big way, or did we retest it in a much smaller way? Retesting in a big way is coming back down, deviating well below, recapturing that shoulder line, and then rolling back out of that position.
Yeah, I mean the target should have been there, right? Technically.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of people were like 40K, 40K, 40K,
Yeah.
right? But I saw the momentum loss. So I was like, it's not going to get to 40K. I was like, our best bet here is like 36, right? 37. I was like, they're going to lose momentum at that point. It's going to roll back over. And then, but we ended up rolling over much earlier than that. We ended up rolling at like 32. But you know, this neck for me is very significant, right? Like you break that neck, like your potential to roll deep is there. It's just there. And I think a lot of people need to acknowledge that overall from like a price action standpoint.
Wait,
But-
what? Did it almost hit 25.6?
Hmm.
Did that just happen?
Yeah, we hit 25,684.
Oh. Wait, I was thinking, oh, okay, we're good. We're
Yeah,
good.
that's not that crazy. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why I thought that was $1,000 away from where we were. Never mind. Ignore me.
I think too, like when you look at it, like a lot of people don't, they maybe want to be in disbelief here that price can go deeper, but like you need to acknowledge that it's potential, right? When you look at things like Polygon and all these other things, they're all bleeding bad profusely, right? So like when you're starting to see that across the board, the last asset to go, it probably will be Bitcoin, but it will go while everything else is going. And so either alts are front running Bitcoin, or you know, maybe Bitcoin front ran alts. I would arguably say alts are front running Bitcoin, right? The liquidity is leaving alts, going into Bitcoin, trying to create support, but that can only happen for so long. And once that altcoin money's gone, who's going to buy?
Oh man.
You need either new participants, or you need. I mean, really, that's all you need. You just need new participants. There's no other way to hold this up.
Yeah.
There's zero scenario. Like new money's not coming in. Like you can see that by total market cap. Like pull up total market cap real quick. Like price has not moved from these ranges. It just hasn't. It stayed here. I mean, look at that spike in total market cap, and then they took it all away.
Yeah, I mean you gotta at least come back down there. Right?
That was pretty concerning. I
Yeah,
would
that looks very concerning.
like
Yeah.
much worse than Bitcoin looks.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It like total looks really bad, and that's not something you'd want to see. It's just not. That was very scammy of them to come back through that support and then pull it right back under.
My biggest concern right now. Sorry, Tommy, what's that?
Sorry, I was just saying this market loves to do scammy things, man.
It does. It really does. My biggest concern right now, something I'm watching, is that Bybit wick is a problem on Bitcoin and ETH. That Bybit wick is going to get filled. The question is, do we just nuke right now and take care of it and then try to spend some time recovering?
Where was it on ETH? Where was it on ETH?
ETH, it went, oh my gosh. ETH, it went down. Let me see. We went all the way down to 1466, man.
Wow.
On Bybit. That's a problem.
Yeah.
You know, so that's something that, I mean, one, yes, September is historically bloody. Two, from a trader's perspective, like we need to take care of that. So the question is, do you even get filled, or do we just start nuking in September, fill that wick, range down after we fill the wick, and then you can try to short even lower than that? Because that wick is a serious problem on Bitcoin and ETH. On Bitcoin, it went all the way down to 24.2. I mean, significantly lower than other exchanges. So
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, it's a weird, there's part of me that's like, you know, just be patient. You know, people are going to get squeezed here, you know, maybe have a small position on just in case. but also I could very much so see this thing just rolling over completely, just
Yeah.
completely nuking.
Look at
So I
this
don't really
Chad.
know.
Look at this Chad comment. What a guy.
Oh, Noah, I
Hey.
appreciate you, man. That's why we do it, man.
It is.
That's why we do it. Thank you, Noah. It's heartwarming. I appreciate the feedback, and thanks for tuning in. It's really great. But actually, guys, we are having a serious problem right now. Oh dear, guys, we don't have enough likes on the video, guys. This is a serious issue.
Every day.
Guys, we only have 7 likes on this video so far. Now we have 8. Now we have 9. Guys, we always got to go with TP1 of 20 likes. If you are enjoying the content and you think we're going to nuke this month, or even if you think we're super bullish this month, which we're not, but if you think that, that's okay. Please still consider liking the video. Please give it a thumbs up. It really helps our young channel grow. It really helps support us. So yeah, let's see if we can get to 20 likes. Right now we're at 12. A little slow from you guys today, but I know you'll come through. You guys always come through. But what do you guys think? I mean, do you think it makes sense to try to chase this thing on September 1st already? Or do you think it's better to potentially be a sideline and wait for a bounce to short?
I don't know if we get a bounce. I've been an advent bull for a while, and I don't know if we get a bounce. I think when you see moves like that, it makes participants not want to step in, right? They see the scam move and they're like, no, I'm good. Like even me, right? Like I saw that and I was like, oh, that's it for me. I'm not playing that game. I saw that in 2022 and it just kept going. I was like, no way you're catching me like that.
What do you guys call this pattern, Will? What do you call this pattern?
Which one?
Just
the
this
double
whole-
bottom or
This
what?
entire
Will,
thing.
just the right side of it, Will. What do you, because you always have a
I
different
call it
name
a
for that.
scam, man. Like it's
No.
it's a-
You called it something else yesterday.
What?
Oh.
You said the
Oh.
floppy meat or something like
Oh,
that.
the floppy meat.
Yeah.
Well, it
Yeah.
turned into
Every
a
day
floppy
it's
meat
a
after
different-
turning into an erect one, man. Like it's like, how do you turn into a erect to a freaking floppy meat? But I don't know. I don't know. Like maybe their activity just isn't there, right? If they're running out of stamina, that's why I went from one direction to the other so fast. Yeah, you don't look, guys. Like I'm not. I want to be a bull more than anything, but like you got to accept chart patterns when you see them, and like this is it's not indicative. And I've been the one person fighting everybody on the bear narrative. Believe me, I feel like I'm out
Look at
here
his
like
background. He's still
fighting
got the
everybody.
background. Will move
No,
your body.
you got to
close so we
change that, bro.
Will move your See, he's got the bear with an IV, man. It's on life support right now. But Will, you might have to change that background now.
Yeah, man.
That's how you know, because when Will's outlook gets bearish, man, this is no joke. That's how you know things are heating up.
Man, things were okay. I just want to be very, very adamant about that. They were okay until they weren't, and when they weren't is when they retraced that entire move, and then they weren't. Like I was willing to accept that drawdown and be like, all right, they're gonna bounce back. But when you draw down like that and then come up like you did and then draw down again, I was like, no, that's continuation pattern. It's gonna keep going. So that's kind of where I'm at, man. Like I just. Yeah, Devin Casey, trap door. There you go. Exactly.
Ooh,
You don't want to get caught in a trap door.
You don't-
This
you
trap
don't
door
know-
spider.
you don't want to know where the bottom of that is. Oof.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'm not
That's
that
a little
bearish.
too strong
all
for
right?
bearish propaganda today, Tucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Tucker's
haven't
like
seen
bear.
propaganda
He's like,
yet.
yeah, there you go. That's
What's
what
that
Tucker
tweet?
was thinking.
What's the tweet that Wabi quoted? It's like, you ain't seen propaganda yet, brother.
Yeah, that's the one. Oh man. Oh, I screwed up. I must have done it on log or am I on log right now? Oh, there we go. Been on log this whole time, guys. Look at that.
I mean, when the bull run comes, like this is gonna be beautiful. And I wanted to point this out too, because I know we've talked about this off stream. I know a lot of people think that on the show, like everybody's just adamant bears. And Max, you and me have had this discussion. Like, it's not profitable to be a bear, especially owning a business in a bear market, right? We could tell
Oh, yeah.
people how to trade downside, but they're going to fight you the whole way and they're going to hate you.
It's
And
not
then,
good.
you
It's
know-
not good for business, man. It's not good for a media company in crypto.
It's not, but who was bearish up here? The boys.
But also, what is good
Boy.
is that we didn't get anybody completely destroyed.
exactly.
Like I would actually rather be known as like one of the few people that just didn't buy into all the hype at the top and the FOMO. Like we've been telling people to go risk off here on YouTube for months now, man. Like since literally the Pico top, we've all been very skeptical. So
Well, yeah, it'd be one thing if we were like telling everybody in our Discord, like, "Oh yeah, get long,
Just
up
buy
here,
everything,
we're
hey,
going,
buy all
we're
these
going
shares.
up."
is coming. Get long. Like
Yeah, like-
SEC just lost and then just destroyed. Man, people
Well,
did that.
People
Max,
did that.
got so
Yeah,
excited.
when we were in spaces, like even though I was a bullet and I was still a bullet 28K, I was adamantly telling people, I was like, you don't buy here. I was like, you missed your opportunity to buy.
that's
I was
true.
like, if you wanted to
That's
buy, you
true.
bought at 25K.
You did
I'm
say
like,
that.
this
Will,
is
you
not
did
the
say
spot
that.
to buy. I'm like, 28K is a potential reversal. And that's exactly what it did. It reversed the entire freaking move.
Bruh. Evan. R.I.P. Evan
I
Casey.
bought
I'm sorry.
Evan.
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 Look at oh no, Evan. No.
The bags will be red.
Sorry, man. Look, we don't control markets like that. We just look at them and evaluate them. That's it.
You guys are killing it in the comments today, man. You guys are just hilarious out there.
There are a lot of people, I would say, like though in the space that like to see pain, and they like to see people upset and stuff like that. So they praise downside. We look forward to trade on it at the end of the day. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying
I'm
to
a
trade
bear
downside or
now
upside.
so that I can buy more coins.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just about liquidity at the end of the day. Can I make money off of the move?
oh, what is
Yeah,
this?
man. My primary objective has always been to just increase my Bitcoin or coin, depending on what you guys want. But for me, Bitcoin denominated net worth. So even if I'm not in big shorts here, and let's just say hypothetically Bitcoin went to 20,000, I'd be fine with that. Like I'm such a long-term bull on the space, in crypto, specifically Bitcoin for me personally. I'm totally fine with being like the sideline or, like that meme of just like the sideline cash guy who's like, charting. It's like, it doesn't matter. It's so much more fun to be a bull and it pays so much better to be a bull at the right times. This is expert level right here. Like if you've been making money this year trading, you're in the top 1% of traders, 100%. This has not been easy. So my primary objective has always been make bull markets when they come about as easy as possible. And for me, that's just packing big spot bags and setting them and forgetting them, and then having, a perps portfolio that I can dance around and try to, help juice my returns or hedge when appropriate. But cash is very much a position, and a lot of people don't like to acknowledge that. But cash is a position because it pays to be, for one, a major equity bull over the long term. It also pays to be a major crypto bull over the long term. So when you go risk off, if you're like, I don't really like shorting, I'm not a trader, I don't want to deal with leverage, you can basically just hold like stables or cash. And if you can double the size of your spot Bitcoin holdings or spot Ethereum holdings or spot ADA holdings, whatever you like, when the market finally recovers, you're going to be much better off. Far, far better off. So just focus on like your coin denominated net worth. If you don't want to aggressively short, you don't have to. You really don't.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important part, because a lot of people, they get upset when price goes down and you tell them that, hey, there's a potential to short here, because they don't want to hear that. It's like la 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 la, close my ears. But the whole point is not to tell you guys to trade downside. It's to tell you, hey, downside's coming. So if we get to this price range, if you're a DCAer, it's probably a good time to DCA at that price range,
We
right?
just swept yesterday's low, guys.
Did we?
Is
Oh, dude.
this the sweep?
It's
Well, if
moving.
It's a sweep or if it's a market structure break.
Yeah, this is moving way faster than what people think it is. It's a 2-day move, and it's already recovered everything. Like it's This looks cooked.
Equities
And I'm
are-
not saying that from like a
Our equities cooked. Hang on.
Yeah, I mean Nasdaq's down 32 basis points today. Pre-market on our Discord call with the Giga Chads, it was up 72 basis points pre-market.
Dude, IWM. Hang on.
We've not only round tripped everything, but we've actually gone relatively red on the day. So
Dude,
September
what-
getting off to a very interesting start.
Oh, it is. And believe me, in the back of my head, like I knew this, but I wanted to ignore it. I wanted to think maybe this year, not this time is different, but maybe this year we deviate out, right? Maybe our month before September is the blood month, and then we have the green month in the September. But obviously, we're in September, and now we are where we are. And it only looks like it wants to go deeper.
Oh man.
Yeah, it doesn't look good, man.
They could sweep it and keep chopping. I could see that, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
mean,
I mean that's
I don't think it changes the overall outlook of the market.
here's the thing, Tommy. That's your bull case. That's your bull case.
Is chop.
Like,
Yeah.
it's sweep and chop. Like, is that a good bull case? I don't know. I don't think so.
So no.
Your bear case here is you break the low and you go a lot deeper. But I do want to point out too, for me personally, I am still adding to my long-term spot bags.
Mhm.
Like I don't care about a lot of this when it comes to spot bag positions versus trading positions, right? Trading is trying to increase liquidity. Spot bag positions are more about buying on supports as you continue to drop and playing those moves. Not just buying blindly week by week. It's buying major supports, not minor supports of price liquidity. And I think 25K is one of those zones. And I think if we go deeper, it'll be 20K. Will be the next zone, right? And I do like the approach too, where Tucker basically said 21. I could buy a little higher, right? That's fine, but I'm not going to buy 24,990, right? I already bought 25. Why would I buy 24,990? Like, and this means as Bitcoin drops, I'll be evaluating alts, I'll be evaluating Bitcoin, and I'll look where they're at in price to match Bitcoin. And if I think they're at an appropriate area, I'll buy into them.
Tucker, why are yields up so much today? I don't
They
understand.
still
I
rocketing.
missed something.
I mean,
What did I-
NFP beat. So, I mean, they shouldn't be going up because of unemployment, right? Unemployment ticked up 30 bips, so they should be going down because people are at first they were ripping equities off of it because they're like, oh, that means Fed's gonna pause, whatever. But either way, that would mean cuts and that would mean yields down. But I think they're up because NFP beat is what I'm thinking.
Maybe it's a little gap fill time here for TLT, kind of like the previous bottom.
Yeah.
I will be interested though. What do you guys think October will look like?
I need to know what the next 2 weeks look like first.
Yeah, but that's you already know what it looks like. Look at past September, so we can get past that. What do you think? What do you think October will look like?
I think if you can
Just
get
from past.
through,
Just from
I think
past.
if you get through September, I think you could maybe be bullish into the end of the year, depending on how brutal it is and what happens or not.
Yeah.
But
If it's really brutal, I'm really bullish. That's all I'm saying. If it's not so brutal, I wonder if it continues.
Tommy,
Yeah, that's a tough one. I kind of think we go sideways for another week or so, to be honest, and then we see our downside. And I don't know how long it's going to last necessarily, but I would say I'm mostly expecting October to be pretty choppy. Probably a lack of volatility, at least in crypto, because I imagine we probably have moved pretty strongly by that point already. So maybe carving out another range in October, equities maybe bounce, whatever. If equities even pull back, I don't know. It's a little bit difficult for me to predict. But if we do get downside in September, then I think October will probably be a lot of chop.
Chop trying to get back out of the range, or chop potential continuation.
Chop forming a new range.
Okay,
Chop forming a
okay.
new range.
What about you, Tucker?
For
What's your break,
October,
September, October.
I mean, I think it depends. Like if what we are seeing out of China comes, metastasizes, then I think it could be a big liquidity drain across the board. Like if we get equities nuking also because of, I mean, this might end up being just straight up FUD, but like these are legitimate headwinds, right? But like if we get what we think we could get out of China, then I think it might be more of a through the end of the year down chop situation. Like I wouldn't be super bullish if we nuke because of legitimate liquidity headwinds, rather than like a news event like, oh, CZ got handcuffed. I mean, if CZ gets handcuffed, man, and Binance shuts down, I think we're gonna go a lot lower. But it's probably, as long as everything else is okay, it's probably a shove at that point. But if it's more macro liquidity driven, event driven, right, beyond just like a news event, I think then you want to be more careful, honestly, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But if it's CZ getting arrested, it's probably a shove once you find a local bottom, honestly.
All right. What's your thoughts, Max, September, October?
You can see my chart, right? There's my thoughts right there.
What about October though? What about October?
October. We're talking about past September.
Yeah. This goes into October 1st. Yeah, I'll cover October 1st at the lows here. That's fine.
Beyond that.
Oh, beyond that. Okay. What are my thoughts for after September for crypto or crypto and equities?
We can do both. We'll do both, and then you can give me crypto by itself.
I'm expecting a lot of volatility this month. I made a pretty sizable bet in the equity markets that we're either going to literally go to an all-time high this month, and this is the final middle finger to everybody that tried to apply too much logic to trading this year. When everybody's expecting a very bloody red September, they just stick up their middle finger and say, oh, you thought you were getting a red September. How about the most bullish month of the year so far is September? So I either think we're going all-time highs this month in equities, or we're going to get a really bloody September with some sort of VIX spike and, credit event, catalyst, whatever. But I'm basically just betting on volatility. I'm not picking a direction with equities. I'm willing to place a big bet that we're either down, QQQ's down at like 345 or 410 this month. So I'm basically just betting on volatility in the equity markets going, post September. It really depends, right? Like if I think if we're at all-time highs and we get volatility to the upside in the equity markets, then I think that the remainder of the year turns bearish. And I think you have to start looking for shorts. I think if we have a very aggressive September to the downside and you see QQQ down at like 335, 340, then I think you could potentially bid for a complacency shoulder, a bounce into a lower high. So it really depends. For crypto, man, forget about it. Like I'm only looking for shorts in crypto right here. Seasonality is bad. Liquidity conditions don't dictate to me that we're anywhere near a bull market. I'd like to accumulate a little bit closer to the halving. So, yeah, I hope that answers the question.
No, I mean,
equities, just a bet on volatility. Crypto, I'm looking for shorts.
That's a good response. I mean, being clear and precise is always important. Arguably, like I would say this too. I want to point and highlight this. The C thing. Can't say it on YouTube, by the way, so that's why I did that. Basically, that thing is actually starting to come back here in Vegas. I don't know if you guys knew that. Now, I don't mean back as in really here, but I'm starting to see hospitals and doctors, because I just booked a doctor appointment the other day where it says right on their website, we have the thing, and now you can do virtual meetings with your doctor again. And so I'm wondering if this is something they're trying to procure and bring back. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
I've noticed some things like that as well. Just
no one say the word. No one say the word, please.
I'm not going to say it, but have seen some stores around here with masks, and I have seen like an increase in hand washing protocols, and I would say just an emphasis on, which I mean isn't the worst thing, like sanitation, but I think it is kind of beginning to gravitate more and more towards what you're saying, Will. And I hope that that's not the case, but I have low expectations. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and I think anybody trying to say that it's not possible, I don't know. People didn't think it would be possible the first time, and now what are your thoughts, Tucker? Have you seen anything in your area? I guess in that general direction.
Man. I live in Kansas, man. They don't care about any of that nonsense.
All right.
I mean, obviously, like when it happened the first time, people freaked out, but no, I mean, I haven't seen anything like anecdotally, personally yet, but yeah, I've heard the rumor mill for sure. I don't know. That would be very, very unfortunate. I mean, yeah, peaceful non-compliance, says Tanner the Great in chat.
Yeah, I only bring it up because I literally just saw it yesterday when booking an appointment with my doctor. It was on their website. You could just dial into a doctor now. This is something that they only put up when this scenario happens. What about you, Max? Have you seen anything in your area in regards to that?
Yeah, I've seen some stuff for sure. I've definitely seen some stuff. I live in probably one of the most paranoid states for sure. So yeah, I've definitely seen it. I live in Minnesota. You guys know that. Minnesota is one of the more accommodative states. Let's put it that way. So I've definitely seen some stuff, and I'm hoping it doesn't. I hope it doesn't materialize into something serious, because I really that was horrible, man. And as much confidence as I would hope to have that people would not react like they did last time, you never overestimate what
irrationality.
Yeah, never give the average Joe too much credit, man, because fear is a very strong driver. Fear and emotion are very strong drivers. So I just hope it doesn't happen again, man. I just had a kid. I don't want him to have to deal with that for the first year or two of his life. So hopefully it doesn't happen. I'm sure there's something else brewing, but I mean, even like that aside, talking about markets, whether it's another wave of something, or it's a credit event that's brought on by the fastest tightening cycle that we've seen in the past 4 decades, or more banks going under, or something, it certainly feels like something is brewing under the hood a little bit. And I don't know what it is. Like, right, in hindsight, we'll look back and say, oh, that makes like perfect sense why this happened. And I have a feeling that our next catalyst in the equity markets is probably going to be less about like a black swan, like we saw in March of 2020, and more so around, somebody being greedy. You're making a bet that nobody got greedy during a time of historically low interest rates, and then, failed to protect themselves once those rates sort of creeped into the economy. So the question is, who could have been greedy? Where's the bloat? Where's the excess? Where's the Enron? Like, what's going to happen here? I don't know. I mean, I can't help but think that it's going to be interest rate sensitivity, but unlike SVB, where that interest rate sensitivity kicks in, quickly, and the mark to market is immediate, where is that delayed mark to market where the interest rates, once they settle into the economy, really apply the pressure to whomever? Who's going to feel the delayed reaction of the interest rate hikes? Who got greedy, but we haven't found out about it yet?
Well, the reason I brought it up too, Max, is because this could be one big storm brewing altogether, right? And it ultimately, as much as I don't want to say this, it could be an excuse for the next scenario that could happen with financials, right? It could be like financials fell through, banks fell through because of this. not because we messed up.
Yep. That's what I was thinking with running back 2020 again was the economy was showing cracks and some major cracks in 2019, and it was a very convenient excuse for them to be able to kind of put makeup on a pig and say that was why that it looked the way that it did.
Yeah, that's honestly my biggest concern here is that will be the case, and people will accept that as the answer, as opposed to our system just basically being broken from the moves that they've made with injecting money into the ecosystem and everything in the way in the forms that they did. Right, the QE that they did honestly is so predatory to your average Joe. They have no clue. And a lot of average people actually don't know. They think inflation's bad. Inflation gives you the ability to choose your wages. Inflation gives you the ability to choose your employer. When inflation goes away, everything goes back to basically your corporate or your boss. Everything goes back to them. They control your wages. They control your job. They decide if they want you or not. A demand-driven economy is based on inflation. A non-demand-driven economy is based on deflation, right? Because when there's no value, why buy anything? There's nothing to buy of value. And then you're only buying based on what you need versus on what you want. And people tend to buy things because they anticipate in the future it will be worth more. That's what inflation drives. That's why inflation drives pricing, because they buy in the anticipation that what they bought today will be worth more tomorrow. That's why people buy Rolexes. That's why people buy houses. That's why people start businesses, because they anticipate these things to be worth more in the future. Without inflation, they aren't.
I think they're getting a little squeezy out here. So we are starting to see a little bounce from crypto right off of the sweep of yesterday's low. I'm not overly optimistic that like the bounce carries too far. Like I could see us maybe now running the highs, and that could be a good opportunity to smack some down, but I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's going to be a spring into like a very bullish, sustained bullish move. So what are you guys thinking?
It's at value area low right now. So, if it reaccepts back in, just accept the range back into your life, I think, for a few more days, at least,
Back into your life.
at least over the weekend.
Accept the range back into your life.
Because if Bitcoin does start raging, you probably, especially into the weekend, you likely see altcoins squeeze on low liquidity, and it's going to be very predatory conditions if we get these reclaims.
Tucker, how does total 3 look? Are we looking on
Total
those?
and total. It was in the charts the whole time.
Oh, let's. You know what? I never. So we did do the side by side max with total 3. Why don't we try doing an overlay on them and just see how inverse they actually are?
Total and total 3.
Yep.
Tucker's the masseuse. He's got this.
Okay, so total and total 3.
Yep.
Overlaid.
Overlaid.
Log.
Yeah, we can go with log. It'll just
Go
be easier to see.
specific. We can do whatever you want here, Will. We can do whatever you want.
Yeah, let's go with log. Let's go with log.
No, I chose wrong. Let me get rid of the first one.
Now look at that.
Well, yeah. Hang on. We gotta put one as a line or something.
And guys, if you are enjoying the stream, please consider on your beautiful Friday, September 1st, consider throwing us a like. Right now we have 31 people watching and we have 23 likes. Our goal while we're live has always been, well, wasn't always, we did move it up as the show and the channel have been growing, but our TP, our final TP for the stream is 30 likes. If you guys can help us get to 30 likes while we're live, that'd be amazing. We got to make that robot at YouTube headquarters take a liking to us, guys. It's that simple. The robot needs to like us, and the only way it likes us is if you guys like the video and probably subscribe and keep commenting and whatever. But for right now, we're just talking about likes. So, guys, thanks so much for being here. Happy Friday. Happy September 1st. But please consider liking the video.
So one thing I want to point out here is go back to like 17, 18, 19. Look at the low of where Bitcoin bottomed and altcoins, right? Together. Where are altcoins at? Where's Total 3 at? Way
Orange.
below, right?
Orange one, yeah.
Way below. And as you come across, keep going. I would actually scroll out pretty far there.
That's all we got. That's 2014. Total 3
What's-
didn't get created until 17.
What's your percentage low from low to low there? Like if you were to do a percentage from low to low.
What low?
On the very bottom of 19, where we bottomed out.
What?
Yeah, right there. Down to the other one. Yep, right there. What's your percentage drop on alts?
70.
All
Well,
right.
that's-
Now go to our low.
Yeah. Not drop.
Go to
but
our
like
low to low on the other one.
difference.
Yeah, the difference. Yeah. There you go.
More. About the same. Less. A little less.
A little less. Now let's measure where we are now.
Thank you, Robert. What's up, Robert? Guys, Robert's one of our OG community members, man. And he was actually the first one to purchase one of the YouTube memberships. You guys will probably notice. We don't really talk about it much, but just in case you guys are interested in supporting us even further than just dishing us out a like, you can get a cool little emoji next to your name, just like Robert77. I think we put it at like $5 a month or something like that. I don't even remember what it was. It's accessible, it's relatively affordable. Definitely helps
Look,
support the channel. So
It's
thanks,
less
man.
than a Netflix cost. Okay.
Is
Less
it?
than a
That's a
Netflix
good
cost
thing.
for this
I got
daily show,
Netflix. It's
man.
like
You don't
$5.
have to do it. You don't have to do it, but you get a cool little emoji next to your name. Oh, Jackus, what's up, brother? Jackus, we should get you on this stream,
Jackus.
man. Jackus, if you want to come on the stream, let me know and I'll send you a link. But if not, welcome, man. Hope you're doing well. I'm excited to see your video, man. You've been teasing everybody on your Twitter that you got a video you're about to drop. That's
No,
gonna
he
be good.
dropped it. He dropped it. It's
He
on
did?
Twitter. Yeah, it's on Twitter.
And maybe we should just pull it up and just do like a reacting to Jackus's awesome video.
We should. I think it's like an hour. I haven't seen it all. I watched the first like 2 minutes of it.
Jackus said, "Let's go." I'm gonna invite him on right now. All right, guys, we got Jackus coming on the show. It's time, baby.
The thing I
It's
wanted to point
time.
out here, though, Tucker, is like we're at 68 now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alts continue to drop, and we end up in a similar situation. We're going to be at 71. So, arguably, even though a lot of people think we're at the low, right? Like we bottomed out on everything. Alts can continue to bleed more by a lot, especially if Bitcoin pulls back.
Total 3 is so much more liquidity sensitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
A little
these
bit taken
small
out
cap
moves it
coins.
massively. Go ahead. I didn't make a shot there, Max.
No, you're good. I was just saying, like it's just so much more liquidity condition sensitive. And we got Jackus on here. Jackus, what's going on, man? Thanks for jumping on, man. This is fun. A little impromptu Jackus, a little Jackus time. How are you, man?
Hey guys, happy to be here as always. Well, I didn't plan to sneak into your show, guys. I just just noticed you guys were streaming. I just came home from the groceries and I was just gonna check what you guys talk about, hear some interesting thoughts and so. And here I am.
Yeah. All right. So let me ask you this. So we've been we started off the stream by having a discussion about what we're prospecting for September. Obviously, things are off to a little bit a red start. And obviously, September is a historically poor month for risks, equities, and crypto alike. How are you feeling now that it's September 1st, given where price is at right now? We had a pretty nasty, retrace or Bart Simpson pattern after the Grayscale victory against the SEC. But how are you feeling about price right now, man?
Pretty much the same. Like we had the BART. It was probably due to all the spot ETF delays, or it was in the chart anyway, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not feeling that much because I had one trade actually during the pump. It was on a really lower time frames, and I was betting for a quick continuation. I took small profits and then closed the rest at break even, and otherwise, apart from that, I don't really care because I hold spot, which I bought actually way lower. I bought something on the dump, so that part is at break even, and I still have some cash waiting in case we drop below the June lows. So, to be honest, I'm not really amused, let's put it that way, by these smaller moves. I'm still waiting for the big one.
You think the big one's gonna go up soon, right? Or
You
gosh,
wanna
what is
see
this?
that?
So,
You
yeah,
wanna see that.
I at least hope so. If you're gonna put in the B vol 7-day, like the 7-day volatility index, it's pretty clear that the big move is still coming. So we are really speculating whether it's gonna be to 10K or 50K. So
What do you think of this continual retest of support here, Jack?
sorry, Will, what were you saying? Because
the continual retest of support here. What do you think of that?
We know how they like to manipulate the markets, especially on the lower time frames and especially on BTC. So I don't really feel anything. I think we're either gonna sweep the lows now, but which shit. Yeah, I really need to buy a new headset because this one is fucking me over. Sorry. Yeah, again, I think now that we have retraced back to the range, I think we should sweep the lows, or at least I would actually like that. But I'm also prepared just in case there is some random pump out of some fabricated news again. So I don't really, to be honest, I don't really care that much if we just drop another 2%, 5% lower is okay with me.
You talking about
yeah,
these
for sure.
those right here?
Yeah, I think that's on everyone's eyes now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, then what's really a concern for me, and Tucker, maybe you could pull this up, is what happened on the Bybit chart. Like the Bybit wicks were just huge.
Yeah.
You were talking about that earlier, where on Bybit, Ethereum wicked all the way down to 1461, and Bitcoin was like 24.2.
Yeah.
To me, that seems problematic. Like I think we need to take care of that at some point. I don't know if it's immediately, but we got to take care of that wick. That's an issue, I think.
I was actually saying that about 2 weeks ago now. I'm not sure that there is the difference between the spot market and the perp market, and usually when that happens, it's with some crucial low, as was the June one. We usually tend to fill those wicks, so I'm okay with that. At the same time, we could have said there was actually lots of spot buying on the drop, while the perp chart, there was lots of liquidation there. So there could have been two explanations of that. And yeah, I also think that it's very much possible that we're gonna come and fill that wick.
Yeah, I'm prepared for that. Like I also think that it's going to be highly dependent on what like the NASDAQ is doing or what stocks are doing. I can't help but notice the relative strength, or not even relative strength, right? Just like the straight outright strength in mega cap tech right now. And I think it's going to be difficult for Bitcoin to really roll over if stocks are making a new high on the year or something like that. So I think if Bitcoin does end up selling off, it's probably going to be somewhat tethered, no pun intended. It's probably going to be tethered to equity selling off as well. So
yeah, that's definitely a great point. and I tend to agree with it. Like if all the other assets, like obviously the SPX, Nasdaq, but again, silver and all these other commodities, if they are staying strong, then it's hard for BTC to drop down. And because of them, I don't really. It's hard for me to have a bearish bias, like something. I'm not talking about the June lows, for example. We have to understand the time frames, because I think this is where so much misunderstanding happens when someone says I'm bearish, someone says I'm bullish, and then later on you find out that the bearish guy was talking about hourly chart, and the other guy was talking about
Yeah.
weekly
Yeah.
chart. So
Mhm.
yeah, so but as always with these intermarket correlations, we need to understand that each market is a bit specific, and there can always be something local. So for example, if let's say, and I don't think that happens, but let's say Binance would implode, then crypto would take a big hit, obviously. But then after it would be done, I'm sure that the prices would go to where they were supposed to be prior to that. Like if the event was totally unexpected, I'm pretty sure that the prices would come back.
So essentially, what you're saying, Jackus, is that would be like a black swan event, and the prices
Yeah.
would go down, but they would recover very fast.
Yeah, but like since we have already so many these black swan events, these liquidations of institutions and projects and everything in this cycle, I just find it hard there would be another one. But I cannot rule it out, of course, and I hope it doesn't happen. But
No, I think that's a valid point, though. Like I'm in the same boat, similar
yeah,
boat. I'm bearish as far as like from a trading standpoint, but I'm still accumulating from level by level standpoint. So like those
exactly.
are two totally different things, and
Yeah,
that's why I clarified that this morning to the audience, because a lot of the time they have a hard time differentiating.
yeah,
Are you
yeah.
selling? Are you sitting in cash? Are you buying? Like they don't they don't get the bearish to bullish thesis, right?
Yeah, it's sometimes really hard to explain, because like you can literally be bullish, on the, for example, not right now, but in general speaking, you can be bullish on like H1, H4, then you can be bearish on the daily, maybe slightly even weekly, and then you can be bullish on the monthly, or like
Oh
in general on
man.
the asset. So explaining the time frames is actually very difficult sometimes.
The
Will,
normie
I just
trend
want to put
line.
this out there, Will. I told you that was the bottom, and you fudded the bottom of DXY, man,
You
on that
did.
retest.
I was
I
there as
told
well.
you the
It's
peak of the
bro.
bottom.
Hold on. Look, if you draw a line straight across those two, you're basically at resistance. All right, and that's from the
Bruh.
left to the right.
You fudded the bottom, Will. It's
I won't
okay.
look. I
It's
won't say the
okay.
bounce didn't play, but I'm
Look at.
telling
Let
you,
me go
like you're
back to
at
my
resistance.
screen. Will, this is where I have the same. I haven't touched the drawings at all, bro. Remember this blue box right here? I said this is okay. Let's start here. We're gonna go down. We're trip down memory lane. All right. Wait, no, hang on. It was it weekly? Yeah. Okay. And I remember I said to you, Will, I know you like the bodies. I know you like the bodies right here, man. So we drew our line. I said, we're retesting these bodies right here. We also have this diagonal trend line, and we also have this blue box, which is a weekly FVG. I said, this is going to bounce hard from right here, man. Bounce hard. We zoomed in. We took a look at it. We were talking right here, man. DXY is going higher, man. Everybody wants the death of the dollar, and the DXY is going to die, okay? But it's not going to die until we get a true complacency shoulder. A true complacency shoulder is probably going to take us, honestly, at least a deviation above this range high right here. Like at a minimum, we'll get a deviation up here. Best case, we probably get a complacency shoulder up in there.
I don't think we need to go all the way up there, because the deviation already starts above the first high. I don't know what it is. Like looks like May, June, something like that.
You right here? You're talking
yeah. We can just deviate about that, above that one. But the other targets make sense too. So you basically need to see how we react there.
So you're thinking all we would need, Jackus, would be like
I'm saying both are possible, and
yeah.
we need to see how we react there. If we deviate, because many times you can have so many support or resistances above, but sometimes what price, just think of it. We just took the breaker that the price then retraced to and bounced. By the way, awesome level of confluence you had there, Max.
Thank you.
And now if we take that another high, in my opinion, that could just be enough.
I
So
agree.
Here's what I'll
That's-
say.
That's
Just
my
a
thoughts there
very
too.
Clean range right here. Range high, range low. For those that trade range is a lot.
I actually
You
love
know
them.
that you typically get a deviation of one side of the range. More often than not, you get a deviation of the other side of the range. It's just liquidity theory. I think that we're going to come back above this level. Like it might take a little time, but I really think we're going to go above 106. And then we can start calling for the death of the dollar. That's fine. But I think that this would, for one, be a really nice kind of complacency shoulder as well, where I don't know, it might look something
But-
like, you could do this. I don't know.
But
And then like this is your high time.
do you see that range high that you have marked? On the left, it already took the liquidity above that high. If you're gonna zoom in a little bit, so the range high of yours,
Yeah.
yeah, it already took the
It already swept
liquidity
it.
on the left. Yeah,
Yep.
it already swept it. So
Yeah.
and I'm not saying it cannot sweep it one more time. I'm just saying that taking the May June high might be enough.
Yeah, that was my argument too, Jack. Is that this could definitely fall over here. I think that you're at resistance. It's already swept, and then you can kind of roll here. 103.5 is like that heavy resistance zone, but you are holding on the monthly too. Scroll out on the monthly real quick, Tucker, and then we can get into this.
This is my chart, but yeah.
Like, sorry. Look at your lows there. You do have a really confluent body candle low there across the board. If you just drew a line straight across those lows there,
Like
Actually,
right here.
From the 2022 body.
Up. The bodies all the way across.
Oh,
Yeah.
like
all of those. Yeah. See the sweep across there? That's your support. You break that, you're done.
Yeah, but hang on. Let me take it back real quick.
I
We
think
are
actually
at
interesting
resistance.
is that if you're gonna put in the USD Japanese yen, I think
yeah.
that the governor of the Japanese central bank actually said that they're gonna start dumping US treasuries if the ratio goes to $150, and I think we are there right now.
Yeah. It goes to 150. Yeah, we tapped it a little bit ago. This is the weekly, by the way. So, I mean,
yeah, we are nearly to 150, not there yet, but I think he said that because obviously Japan is actually a pretty huge deal because they cannot go higher with the interest rates. So basically, the Japanese yen is crumbling a lot, but they hold, I think, the most US treasuries in the world, right? So I would actually have to check, but I think it's Japan that holds the most US treasuries. And he said that if it goes to 150 again, then they will start dumping US treasuries to defend the Japanese yen.
yeah, that would be not good for old. Oh shoot.
Oh, hey guys.
Hey there.
Sorry, Matt.
Hey guys. Yeah. Why did you do that, Tucker? I mean,
I was trying to type in. I was on the wrong screen.
You had something right here, Max.
I literally typed in TLT, and that's what StreamYard did.
Sure. Okay.
Watch. That's what I did. But I was on the wrong screen. But yeah. Yeah. What are your thoughts here, Jackus? What are your thoughts?
I think you're gonna keep it lower personally, but this is me.
Well, like if you don't have mortal problems buying US government debt, then I think these levels are for accumulation, obviously, because if you read this thread I put out about the rates, it's highly likely that even if there is one more hike, more or less it's gonna stay around these levels, and then somewhere around next year they're gonna start dropping them. So it's sort of like no-brainer in my opinion.
Yeah,
I like how you
clearly
said
that
if
last
you're
hike
okay
has
with-
already been. Go
Sorry.
ahead, Will.
No, go ahead. I think there's a lag.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, clearly that last hike, if we get it's priced in. So
Yeah.
it's fine. I think it's accumulation time here.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I like how Jack has said if you're okay with buying U.S. government debt.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's deep. That's a deep moral question. Yeah.
Exactly.
Like you literally need to be okay with buying future work hours of US people, like
Yeah. That's it.
Here's why I'm okay with it. Not to get into a whole moral dilemma. I agree with the question, and I agree that you should be questioning it, but people are gonna buy it, regardless of whether I buy it or not, as a very, very small individual, So it's
Yeah.
like I might as well, it's not like if I protest buying TLT,
Will change
suddenly
anything.
like there's not gonna be no market for, US government debt anymore.
Yeah.
It's definitely like above my pay grade, but
Obviously.
I get it. Yeah.
It's up to each people, because there is a difference between corporate bond and government bond, because government bonds are enforced. They are enforced essentially through taxes, right? Instead of when a corporate issues a bond, they have to pay it from their future products that they sell, or services, whatever. But it's honestly, well, at least to some degree, it's honestly paid money, whereas with government, they just take it by force, and that's the big issue.
Yeah. I actually think there's going to be some really interesting opportunities to lock in some really high yielding corporate bonds pretty soon here. I think it'll probably come sometime next year. But I imagine a lot of these companies, and again, it depends what equities do, right? But I think that for one, if you can go and get 4 to 5% from Uncle Sam, there's going to be a lot of potential opportunities to accumulate like high yield, not even like junk bonds, but maybe higher risk, higher perceived risk corporate bonds that are yielding between like 8 and 12% potentially. And you can lock that in for quite a bit. So I think there's going to be a really interesting opportunity. I would say within the next like 12 months. That's definitely a place that I would consider parking some money long term. If I can basically just buy some corporate debt at 10% APY or something, and it's not too risky.
Yeah, in my opinion, that makes lots of sense, especially if we expect the rates to go down next year. So looking at, and definitely, in my opinion, smart move. Also, by the way, have you seen the chart that U.S. companies are buying back their stock in the highest levels since it's at the top extreme that happened on I think 3 times or so.
I gotta run, guys. No thanks.
See you, Will.
See ya, Will. And it usually happens at actually the bottoms of the market, which is interesting, or slightly after the bottoms. I think it happened like during 2009. They had the highest buybacks, and it happened in 2001, I think, or 2. But I cannot find the chart right now.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I've seen
I haven't.
that.
You seen that?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I've seen it on Twitter before. Yeah, that's partially what that and earnings revisions and everything else is partially what has propped up the equity market all year, I think. Especially like Meta and mega cap tech.
Didn't Robinhood just do it this morning? I think I saw something. They bought like 6% of their outstanding shares back, or something like that. And Robinhood's, it's not a huge company, but still.
Yeah.
Might not be huge, but I bet you that so many people heard about it more than some much larger companies that are in the SPX. Like it has a name.
Yeah, Tucker's. You can. It's just their ticker's Hood. I don't know if you want to see
their Hood.
Let's just check out Hood. Yeah, I think
Such a smooth ticker. It really should have pumped.
Yeah.
It was just an exit
Yeah.
liquidity event in hindsight.
Yeah.
I own some Hood. I'm actually really bullish on Robinhood. Like I do a lot of trading there. I actually really like Robinhood. I know they're in bed with, Citadel and Ken Griffin, and the whole GME thing was not good, but at the same time, their platform it's been disruptive at a minimum, and they pioneered the zero commission trading fees, and they onboarded, a whole new generation of traders, and they're constantly innovating. Like right now, just through Robinhood Gold, which I pay like $10 a month for, they're paying me 4.9% APY on my uninvested capital, and it's liquid, and I can literally take it out and invest it whenever I want. So it's like, I just think that it's a really nice platform. I don't think they're going anywhere. And again, I think as more people continue to come up, through high school and college, investing has never been more accessible. And I think that everybody's first place or starting point is Robinhood. So, I don't know if I want to accumulate them here necessarily. I think it's more of a time than a price thing for me, but I'm definitely bullish on them.
Yeah.
I think you open actually an interesting idea with the younger generations being open to investing. You guys from US probably know it. Like there is a good financial education in the US. Maybe you think it could be higher, but like I know if I compare US and I compare my country or the countries around me, and I actually think that with the rise of internet, Web3, and so I think the investing potential from younger generations in future is going to be huge, especially with the companies like Robinhood and such.
I agree.
Man, I just feel like we're sitting on the edge of a cliff right here.
For me, like on a lower time frame, the level I'm kind of watching, guys, if you really zoom into Bitcoin, you can see if you want to create like a value area or whatnot, it's not too important. Kind of from where we had the NFP dump, or not even that. I mean, we kind of like right around New York Open, we had a dump to break out of value, followed by an immediate squeeze. Back
Wait.
into value that was sold off. You're gonna have to go lower than that, like the
Yes.
5.
Good. Yeah. All right.
So
where
we had that dump to break down from value, followed by the immediate squeeze candle that retraced almost the entire dump.
this over here.
Further, not further back, but closer to where we're at right now. I mean, it was
Here?
probably like an hour ago.
Oh, today.
You see
where was
that?
New
You see
York
that?
open?
Yeah, that candle right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
That deep squeeze that we had. We just been, that's still those longs are resistance right now. So as long as that's the case, then I don't think we're gonna squeeze.
Yeah.
It looks heavy, man. It looks really heavy. I don't know. It's tough, man. Like I could see it both ways here, truthfully. Like it's September 1st, and it's tough to imagine that like we set the high of the month already or something like that. If you're bearish leaning, but also I don't necessarily see a great reason other than squeezing late shorts for why we would go up right here. I just it's a weird
Yeah.
spot. It's a very weird spot in my opinion.
Are you, Max, still targeting 20K?
I'm actually targeting 2,000 on Bitcoin now, Jack. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I
200.
would.
200
Yeah,
Ecolos.
dude, I would shove my net worth if Bitcoin went to $200, Jackus. I don't know. I mean, that's impossible in my opinion, right here. But yeah, I would think that I'm probably targeting 20K. I'd be happy to show a chart and explain why specifically.
Go
Yeah,
for it.
let me pop on here. There's a few reasons. I mean, one, I'm definitely drawing some similarities between where we were at over here and where we are right here. I think we're just going to kind of sit in range on top of support. Similarly to, we talked about that Bybit wick or the perps wick. We had something similar right over here. So this is, a bit of a fractal or whatever, but I think it's useful as a comparison. I would think that for one, if we take a volume profile for this year, here's what I think is probably going to happen. So let's go back to January 1st. Oh, this is on let me go to Binance, actually. That's the wrong chart.
Or
Let's go.
Coinbase, you can go as well.
So I do want to make one comment about the volume profile chart with Binance Max is that, I think the volume, specifically spot volume, when Binance turned off the trading fees for spot trading, I mean, you can tell there's a noticeable difference in volume, but when they turn it on and when they turn it off. So I don't know how much volume from that time period is organic.
I've checked actually with Coinbase, like because Coinbase had normal fees, and it's the same as with Binance, so you can use Binance.
Oh, okay, that's good to know.
I think they simply like, yeah. Okay, let me first hear your thoughts, guys. What you think of the period of the low fees on Binance, or zero fees for retail?
What about it?
What do you think of that period?
I think there was a lot of wash trading volume in the wake of a blow up to give the appearance that there was more people trading than there were. And I think it only has meaning, I think, in the future if, we retest that support and we need that demand to be there, right? Like, is it organic volume when you need it to be, right? Rather than essentially when I don't care if it's like wash trading when you're going sideways, right? Like who cares? But if we do retest support and that's not actually demand, then yeah, that would be concerning.
Yeah.
This is basically kind of my plan. So this is a VWAP with +1 and -1 standard deviations from our VWAP. And then this is, of course, in my opinion, the most significant level on the chart, this 25K region, just given the interactions with it, multiple taps. Now we come back to it again. So my thought or my plan or my hope for this year would be we would effectively lose 25K, probably come down and bounce either at the VWAP or the yearly point of control, sort of between 23 and 24, come back, underside retest of 25K, and then we basically just sort of bottom here at this previous demand level. We fill the CME gap that's remaining at 20K. We bounce off of the -1 standard deviation, and then this is sort of your bottom right here. This would be my thought. So
it does make sense from the technical point of view. I just have a hard time thinking this happens if all the other assets go up.
like stocks you're talking about? Equities and commodities, or
mainly commodities, but even stocks or equities, yeah, as well.
Well, let's take a look at I mean, you have way better charts than me on this because you focus on it, but let's look at silver. This is one I know you spent a lot of time on. I sent this to you when we were in this space together. It's a nice fractal there for silver, by the way. It's kind of similar. I don't know. I see it. But anyways, like let's just say hypothetically, what would happen? What would need to happen for that to occur? I mean, potentially what, like a retest of something over here? We'd probably have to see,
yeah,
another retest. So if silver came down, did something like this, then that might be Bitcoin goes to 20K. So you just retest this demand level right here.
Yes, that would need to happen probably.
Yeah. I mean, it's not impossible. I don't know. I mean, I would leave this to you. How likely do you think it is that something like this happens?
I think if silver breaks the local high it has there, then it's close to. It will have low probability of happening if silver breaks higher, but for now it can still happen. I don't think so, because if you look on the left side of the chart, we've basically reclaimed the range there, like the big range.
You're talking like right here?
Yeah.
So like this would be range low roughly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Range high. Mid range. That's a clean range right there. Wow.
Yeah, silver is super clean.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe one. I mean, yeah, it's hard to say, but yeah,
Do,
of course.
do you know do you know what would be awesome for BTC if it breaks below the 25k and there is the level you mentioned, like the most significant level, right? So
Mhm.
imagine if for a few days it breaks below it. Everyone gets bearish, like super bearish, right? And they sell waiting for lower, and then it just pumps out of nowhere.
Yeah, that would be epic.
Like it just gets below that blue line, but it doesn't go that deep.
It has a propensity to surprise everybody. Bitcoin.
Yeah, it does. And the worst thing, or sometimes best thing, it depends on a angle of your view, is that it's literally been going sideways for like, on average, it's been going sideways for like, I don't know, 28, 29 days of the month, and then only during those 2 days it moves.
You know, I will say one thing about Bitcoin, at least when I'm looking at the profile on it, guys, is that I was actually just looking at, for one, Max, I saw a really interesting discrepancy in the VWAPs between Binance and Coinbase. I think if we're using the VWAPs, Coinbase might end up being more actionable in the future. That's probably an observation I'm going to take away. I think we're actually sitting on our yearly VWAP with Bitcoin on Coinbase. But yeah, no, I just wanted to say there's a big
really
difference
different.
actually.
That's
and
huge.
if you had traded
Yeah.
the acceptance back in, you would have gotten the nuke as well, a lot cleaner than Binance.
Wow. Okay, that's really interesting.
And then I
hadn't
also
noticed
wanted to point out that if you set a value area from basically when we first nuked and formed that 17K to 25K range, that value area has, like, the value area low, if we accept under 25 is basically at the FTX lows. So if you do it from then to now.
Oh, all the way from there
Yeah.
till current. Okay.
So
this is a
big
level.
level.
We'll do a value.
It's a very big level.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a lot of confluence for a bounce down here.
But if you're gonna take the range that's below 25k, you're gonna get a value area on both Coinbase and Binance. Value area low, that's at 22k. Sorry, value area high.
Well, 19 and 20K will be defended by Coinbase if we revisit it, because that was a level that had a very heavy spot bid during the SVB collapse. So
good point.
I would anticipate some form of spot participation if we trade that low again.
This is very. I'm finding this. I don't know how to interpret this. The fact that the VWAP is so much different on Coinbase than Binance. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I think it's more organic volume.
It is for sure.
The more deeply you dive into it, the more contradicting things you're gonna find.
Yeah. That's just so different. I gotta move this up. I gotta keep
there's a difference between assets on Coinbase. What about Ethereum, like Binance versus Coinbase? I'm curious. Now that we're going down this rabbit hole.
Now that we're doing it, if we're gonna do it, let's do it. All right. Let's check her out here.
And then you'll be like, I'm buying here because of Coinbase and selling because of Binance.
Yeah, this is okay. So
right now, price action kind of looks like we're just bleeding because of spot selling. Like, we've had this price action a few times before. When equities are selling off, you just have spot. It looks like a steady bleed where perps long into spot sells. You have no structure breaks on a lower time frame. For me, if I were looking to catch reversal longs, I'd be looking for like market structure breaks. But right now it's pretty clearly like algorithmic selling until you see market structure breaks, I think.
I just have such a hard problem with further breakdown for Ether. Like if Ether breaks down here, I cannot see a different scenario than going $2,000.
Yeah, I mean, this is completely. If this does break down here, it's completely cooked.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
like,
what does that
like
imply
this is
for
done.
BTC, right? So I
This is
think
just
yeah,
done.
exactly. So
Like,
it
this
might
is so horrible. Like, I don't even. Ugh.
Jackus,
So-
what do you think about ETH Bitcoin right now? Because I'll be honest with you, I think that the ETH Bitcoin range that we've been in for almost like a year and a half or 2 years now, I think we're going to
Yeah.
break it within about like a month or two. It looks ripe to break down.
Mhm.
like down.
I think it's going down. Yeah.
Dude.
Because we were talking about it yesterday.
Yeah.
The range that we're painting right now, if you were to overlay the inverse of the accumulation range that it had in 2019 to 2021, it looks very, very similar.
Do you know that if you're gonna run a volume profile, you will find that the bounce was from value area high on the drop in June or something like that? Oh, that's cool.
It's a bit doomer.
Yeah,
What do you want the volume profile?
I thought I had a pretty clean.
you can run it from the entire history prior to this range.
Oh,
Basically.
prior to, so like down here or like all the way back?
Yeah, all the way back if you want.
Can I share my screen really quickly?
It's always not
Yeah, Tommy, I saw you fit it nice. I've seen it. I've seen it.
All right, let's go to Tommy's screen. Tommy can fit it. Tommy, let's see.
Yeah, I'll just give you an idea of kind of what I'm thinking here, Jack.
Yeah. Go.
Because I do think ETH Bitcoin is inherently kind of representative of risk within crypto, right? Of altcoin speculation when ETH is running really hard. This is basically just the inverse of this, pattern right here. And so I think, you look at Bitcoin compared to something like the M2, you always see it return to trend eventually before eventually, drastically outperforming its competitors in the same way that, holding Ethereum at the right times, you will drastically outperform people who hold Bitcoin. So I kind of think this is just a natural cyclical thing for Ethereum, even if that means that Ethereum USD might not outperform for a while. I think the implications of something like this, though, where you break out from a potentially 7 or 8 year accumulation range, I mean, that would be your flippening narrative right here if you're going to get it.
I like the fractal there, but I think the final outcome, I cannot agree with it. We've been going sideways, as you said, for 1.5 years or 2 years. And if we break down here, there is no hope. It's dead.
You think?
Yes, it's.
You don't think it can't just do what Bitcoin M2 does, where it kind of returns to trend?
No, it's that. Check Tezos versus BTC, and you're gonna see it there. And I've seen this pattern over and over and over again, and especially on the versus.
Oof.
Go for Coinbase. Sorry, for Binance, because it has more history.
But you could make the case in theory, Jackus, that if it did that, I mean, I see
Yeah,
that pattern.
Okay, you see that, right? You see that breakout higher, and then there was the distribution. And if that happens, it's dead for Ether. So Ether BTC absolutely must hold here. I do agree with you, though, that if it loses the range lows, in my opinion, this is like the perfect time to buy right now for Ether, because both Ether USD is super oversold and at that crucial level. Ether BTC is at range lows, and if you gonna go on all like, is it a Bitcoin season, altcoin season, all of these, you're gonna find how incredibly all alts and everything is just super, super low. So I'm not saying it cannot die, because it surely can. I'm saying right now is definitely a good spot to be invested in, and I actually done it. But if we're gonna lose the range lows, I'm just out of everything.
I think if Ethereum does break down here, you're absolutely right in the fact that it's going to probably drop pretty significantly on the USD pair, especially against Bitcoin. I think the one area I'll push back is that ETH Bitcoin, the high time frame is still, until it, that trend breaks, right? I think the difference that I see between ETH Bitcoin versus, a lot of these alt Bitcoin pairs is, it's a steady uptrend, whereas these alts just go to zero in perpetuity against Bitcoin. But if ETH Bitcoin can kind of maintain that uptrend against Bitcoin, yes, the USD pair could always get smashed in the meantime. Losing the range would be disastrous for the USD pair in the short term, but I think the uptrend against Bitcoin could realistically still continue under the right conditions.
I just can't, because we had, the huge sideways in 2018, 19, and 20. That bottom accumulation, then we broke higher from that range, and we had no follow through. Like we are going sideways since then, If
But you could make the case that we broke out of that mega accumulation phase that you're talking about, Jack, is for ETH-BTC, but we never really came back to retest it perfectly. I would almost think that a dump to like 0.04 would be a solid retest of previous demand, or previous accumulation.
And I was okay with that in June 2022, and I was saying we either gonna front run the previous accumulation range, or we gonna go a bit deeper into it. We deviated. Can you guys put okay? Maybe I'm gonna put the chart in. One sec. How do I?
Here, I can put this on if you just want to narrate.
Or Jack, can you just hit present at the bottom?
Yeah, I see. I see it now.
Okay.
But Tommy, I wouldn't say this is an uptrend. You know what I mean? Like, it's just an oscillator against Bitcoin. Like, this is a lower high.
You're on mute, Tommy.
I think it's kind of like the whole, it's not an uptrend yet, proven over a higher and higher time frame, but I think it's going to develop similarly to what you see with Bitcoin as it relates to monetary supply, where it eventually returns to trend, but when it deviates from the trend, it deviates pretty extremely. And I think as well, from the standpoint that in 2017, Ethereum ran 1,800% against Bitcoin in 6 months. That's the type of move. That's the type of move that I could see take like 7 years of accumulation before you get, a real next leg higher. I think when we look back at this, as long as you maintain that high time frame uptrend, realistically speaking, you could be talking about, the flippening. But if you lose the trend, then it's over, right? Like, that goes without saying. You lose the trend line, it's over. And if you lose a 2-year range, it could fall pretty substantially. So we're going to have to see the reaction at that trend, of course. But I think if you are a believer in Ethereum, buying at that trend line, if we get there, is probably a good, probably not a bad idea.
I'm on, right?
Yeah, we got you now.
Okay, so we had this, bear market in alts, basically, right? Then we had this, I like this sort of bouncing ball above the support. We broke below, and generally we can say that this whole area has been accumulation, or it was, right? And then we had the breakout of it. Then since then we are basically sure we had this follow through higher. We took this high, and then since then we are going sideways. So this cannot be, this cannot be just like, hey, we're gonna bounce here and then do something like that, because this essentially, if we don't follow through, this becomes a distribution, and there. I just cannot see different outcome where we just go, there isn't any, like, even any support here in this, like the higher time frame support. There just isn't anything until like here. So like,
my only thought there is that not that box, the accumulation, all of that is your support, not something within it. That whole thing is support that never got retested.
What if we view the distribution as part of the range as well, right? Rather than a failed breakout. because I view both the accumulation and the distribution probably within the broader context of a high time frame range that ETH is running against Bitcoin, where if it's really going to break out from a technological standpoint, it's going to take a little bit more time for the space to develop probably. But, and I think that there's something to that as well. When you think about, yes, we did rip on ETH Bitcoin in 2021 when Ethereum ran really hard, but I think I remember pretty distinctly how disappointed I was that Ethereum didn't trade a lot higher in USD during this past cycle. So I do think there's maybe a little bit of validity to that as well.
I don't know. I'm just saying, if we drop below here, I'm just completely out of alt and everything, and I think it's like, in my opinion, the most probable outcome, and that's why I always say, like, be careful what you wish for, guys. I see so many times like people saying like, I wish we're gonna drop this low and I'm gonna buy everything, and then first the price comes, they don't buy because they're gonna be waiting for lower anyway. So like how the psychology goes. If it drops to 500, I'm gonna buy. Then it drops to 500. They say I'm gonna buy at 400. Blah blah blah. And there are just problems that I don't know. Like if we drop back in this range,
that naked point of control probably gets a really strong reaction if we get it.
Yeah, it's gonna get a reaction, but that's my point. It's just gonna get a reaction. Like what you're gonna get is drop here. Sure, we probably take this slow something. You're gonna get a reaction, and then just slow death. Like there is no bull market.
I kind of agree with that. So here's the thing, Jack. If we do drop to that point of control right there, then I would think that red box where we're at right now is such heavy supply that we might come back and retest the underside of it and then just continue down. That gets a little bit tricky.
Yeah, like I'm saying, we absolutely need to hold this range low. And I see this as I'm not saying, I don't want to be thinking like if this happens, because right now we are at a extremely great level. Okay, I'm gonna delete these. So right now we are at this monthly. Yeah. By the way, I was totally okay here with I'm gonna put back on the weekly. I was totally okay if we're gonna go here and drop to like this place, and we're gonna retest this breaker here. We've, by the way, already did it here. If I zoom in, here we had the retest, so we don't really need to. But like if we were dropping here and retest the prior range, we had to do it here. The fact that we have broken below, because this was essentially the first range, right? The fact that we have broken below and then reclaimed it and made an impulsive leg higher, that to me says that we just cannot be breaking below this one. If we are, then it's just, in my opinion, just a huge bad thing. So but right now, let's keep it simple. We are retesting, we have the range lows on the monthly body candle, we have the OB, we had the impulsive, like what do we see on the weekly? We see that price is sort of making this falling wedge accumulation slow bleed, as it likes to do. Bitcoin dominance has been in the longest upside, if I quickly put it in. So all of these bumps with BTC dominance took like 150 days. Whichever you take, it was pretty quick. 150 days. All of these are around the same time. This one though took 300 days, which is twice the length of all the other upsides in BTC dominance. So in my opinion, if I now go back, is that like we have never seen more crushed alts than we do right now, and the market in general. And in my opinion, this is a great level to be in. And here we can surely, like, I was just saying yesterday that, or some other day, that we can drop, we can fill this inefficiency on the weekly or so. We can even maybe take this low. I would still sort of be okay with that, although I don't want to really see it. But something like that. But we just cannot be losing this. In my opinion, that's game over.
So, Jackus, I have a question for you.
Yeah, go.
because I will say I think that the alts are really beaten down, and it's something I've kind of grappled with over the last few weeks and the last few months. Like some of them are in ranges that you would hope become accumulation ranges. Otherwise, they're going significantly lower. But then, I think the flip side of that is I look at the relative valuations of some of these assets still, and things like ADA, 9 billion,
Yeah.
Solana is almost 8, DOT is still almost 5 billion USD, Matic's 5 billion as well. I think there's still plenty of room for a lot of these assets to fall, which ultimately will, I think, benefit Bitcoin and to a lesser extent Ethereum. But I do think there's still plenty that theoretically could bleed out from a lot of these assets over time.
I totally agree, and I think this happens because EOS was a the past cycle coin. It went to, I don't know if it was top 5, but it was definitely in top 10 coin, and it was I think they gathered the largest funding, EOS, and then in the past cycle we've seen it did nothing. It just, look at it, 2021 did not, this is it. This is what it has done. So the coins you are mentioning, like ADA, if they have no future, then they'll probably continue bleeding, and new coins will do this. So during this time, we've seen, let's put Phantom or whatever these new coins were, right? And all of these did this while the older ones, which FTM and all these are now, they've done nothing. So I can see completely clearly we can have a new cycle as long as Ether BTC stands, because I cannot really imagine the space. Maybe it moves completely on chain and everything on centralized exchanges dies. I don't know. I just cannot see a new cycle for alts if Ether BTC dies here. I can see a cycle where Ether continues, and some of these older coins like ADA and so forth, they just continue bleeding, towards zero. Then there is, let's say somewhere here, there is the big alt cycle. It just does something like this and then continue.
So they'll never make new highs against their Bitcoin pairs. A lot of them.
Do you guys remember Vertcoin, for example? Does it tell you something?
I don't even remember. I've never heard of that.
Oh my
Vertcoin.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like back in the day, it used to do 300,000% versus BTC, and this was like the coin. It was like BTC, Litecoin, and then there was a Vertcoin, and it was supposed to be like this huge new thing. It was proof of work coin, and there was actually lots of building on that chain, and Czech Republic, everyone was into it back then. And then, what happens? Just these coins just die.
A new proof of work coin. Is that Kaspa of this?
Well, maybe they have something, and it's definitely good to watch for it. And I believe it will run hard in this cycle.
Yeah, it's a good accumulation. A little bit lower than here. I know you've been getting some heat from the Kaspa community, Jackus.
Obviously, I'm so used to it now. But look at this, man. This is bad. It's super bad.
That's really bad.
Tell me you see different outcome, then I just have a hard time seeing it. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I haven't seen many charts that would, and sometimes this is the good thing, because sometimes we are emotionally invested with coins. Like I'm with BTC, because I'm fucking BTC buck. Like people are gold bucks, I'm BTC buck. So sometimes, you see things, and I think this is the problem with the Kaspa community right now, is that they are too emotionally invested, and because I don't really care about Kaspa, I want to see it do good. Obviously, if they have what they claim to have, it's awesome, but to me it's sort of also just another coin, and I can see the things completely. Sorry, I'm back. Sometimes it's this headphone. So I can see the things unbiased here, and that's actually beneficial in my opinion. Like, for example, us, if we look at I don't think, for example, even US folks look at the dollar index that unbiased. because after all it's US dollar and they're from US, and I've seen that actually I've got into argument with Mr. Bollinger, right, sometimes about a year ago about the dollar during the hype where everyone was calling for the milkshake theory. Yeah, I don't know, just surely bounce here. This level is going to be very important, who knows, but
Yeah.
I,
I haven't talked about Caspa much publicly, but we've
yeah,
got some people in our community that really,
I
really
know.
like Caspa. And I'll buy it. I'll buy it at the right time. I think it's gonna run
Yeah,
because it's a new coin. It's got a
yeah,
cultish community. It's got a good
yeah,
narrative.
yeah,
It's actually functional.
yeah.
But I was telling them basically when we deviated that previous high, that right there, and we got reacceptance back into the range, I said it's over. Like I
And look
told them,
at
I was like, we're going so much lower. Yeah.
exactly, and look at this retest. It's just
Yeah.
like, uh, and that's the thing. That's because we can look at it and we are not emotionally invested, and that's a huge advantage to have. And
Yeah.
by the reactions of the community, you can see how emotionally invested they are. They they don't even attack your opinion. They just attack you as a person, but they don't attack what you are saying. And that's actually what the left does a lot,
Yeah.
like the political left. And yeah, it's just
It
like
was that retest right there. I told him, I was like, it's over, man. I was like, I'll buy under 2 cents. Under 2 cents, I'll bid Caspa. I got nothing against it. I just think it ran without me and it's gonna be bloody for a bit. So
the problem here is that I just don't see anything. Just like with Ether BTC, I just don't see anything right now until this level. Because like, what happens? This goes here, right? Let's say we bounce here. I think we should, and then we go here. I just have a hard time thinking like after this drop so much back into the range when we've accepted in it, just saying going higher, and if it goes back to here, as you say, below 2 cents or 0 2 cents, I don't know how is it called.
mhm.
Then you attack this trend line, and when that happens, it always breaks, always, fucking always. Okay,
Oh yeah.
so yeah, I think we could even potentially take this low. Then it's, I don't know.
I agree.
I do know. But
I agree. They don't want to hear it, but I do agree with you for the most part.
yeah, yeah, and you know, actually, this is interesting, guys. I don't know. I lately I look a lot in the timings of things, and this is pretty interesting. So like this entire bullish, let's say, bull market of BTCD took 1,085 days,
Mhm.
and this one is currently 833. So I think like this is my time window. It's obviously not gonna repeat exactly like that, but it's something nice to
So
calculate with.
it's time to buy altcoins when we get to the end of that blue box. Yeah.
Yeah, and I actually wanted to do a exercise for Twitter. This is my plan, by the way. I think we drop here. Should be like push in Ether BTC slightly. Then there is some fucking shakeout, and then in my opinion, there must be alt season where, because if we invert this chart, right, and we go for the, let's just go complete higher time frame. Let's go for the 3 months, and then it's just hard after taking this one. It's just hard not seeing us going here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think what happens is that right now we are here, and so many people are expecting this area to get hits straight away. Like I don't think that happens because it took so much time to go up here. So I think we first need to bounce, and then we can continue there. We'll see, but this is my plan at least. So
I could see that for sure. I mean, it would make sense for me for when I think the next like true bull market will come
Yeah.
about, and we'll see Bitcoin go to an all-time high, and probably ETH and some other ones. I like that time frame for sure.
Yeah, I like that time frame too. Because again, it's you know, it's around May 24, so that also does make sense with halving in BTC and so forth. So you know,
Mhm.
can be a bit later, of course, because actually the halving of BTC is May 24, right?
Yeah,
April,
I think it
think.
might be. I think it might be the end of March, mid-April, somewhere in there.
Yeah. So even if it takes a bit longer, it does make sense that it's somewhere around here,
Hmm.
like the big one. But I still think we're gonna get a something like this before. Like even if you look at FTM, for example. Okay, so before we got that big out season, like the big one, we still had these bounces in the middle, and I think this was actually right after the halving, right? So the halving was, what was it, May 20, something like that?
Yeah, May
May,
of
June?
2020. Yeah, it was May.
Yeah. Well, it was somewhere around here, right? So right after the halving, we got this upside, and then we got a drop to retest the lows, and then there was the big out cycle. So would make sense if I go back on BTCD that we get something like mini cycle, then stop run, and then new lows probably.
That alt season. Yeah.
But huge what is it called? Just be careful, guys. I still have a hard problem if we lose here.
I like your scenario you outlined earlier of a deviation below the bottom trend line right there. Like just a small below the wedge. Yeah, right in there. So like a deviation right in there, and then basically spring to new highs or breakout from there. I like
Yeah.
that scenario a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Because you'd see a lot of people capitulating their Ethereum if we did break below that trend line.
and I
I think
can
that'd be
see.
good.
Yeah, me too. I love this scenario, by the way. I said I'm already accumulating here, and if it drops lower, I'm gonna accumulate more. But in general, there is lots of liquidity above here. With this week, we took absolutely all liquidity. There is nothing else but the high, and that's where longs wanted to profit. So we didn't give them the opportunity to do so. And then nice breaker here, retest of the supply. And then what do we have? We just keep leaving highs here. Lots of liquidity to push higher. So, but I cannot see a scenario again where we like lost this low, we made lower high, and then we're gonna lose it again. I just cannot see starting a new bull market.
So
If
let
that
me ask
happens.
you this, Jagus. Let me ask you this. So, okay, hypothetically, right? Let's just assume that Ethereum, ETH BTC holds that blue box.
Yeah.
We don't actually break down. Why would anybody hold Bitcoin going into next cycle if ETH BTC is poised to break out, significantly from here? Is there any advantage to holding Bitcoin other than the possibility that ETH BTC might actually break down?
Well, it's always good to be diversified, but I think you should hold larger portfolio in Ether.
As
And
long
then
as that blue box holds.
it's like, why would you hold the dollars? You hold them because if there is a unexpected dip or something, you can buy more, for example, or so. But so for example, you don't know how deep we're gonna go here, and it's beneficial to hold both. And in case, you can always buy some alt with that BTC as well. So and BTC should be like dollars in future. Like BTC should be the safe haven of crypto, where you just run to if shit hits the fan, in my opinion. But we'll see.
I would agree. I mean, my primary objective is to increase my Bitcoin denominated net worth. So I'm always trying to outperform Bitcoin, whether it's even just holding stable coins if I think Bitcoin's going to pull back, or holding an altcoin, I guess like Ethereum, if I think it's poised to outperform Bitcoin. I just want to beat Bitcoin. Bitcoin is my
Yeah.
benchmark.
Mhm.
Exactly. I have
Yeah.
the same.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've been going for almost 2 hours, so I think this is probably where we can wrap it up here. Get on with our days. Jackus, thanks so much for joining us, man. It's absolutely epic to have you on here. We didn't plan for this, so definitely fun that you were able to come and hang with us here. That trend line's a little bit scary to me. I'm not gonna lie. That's a
Mhm.
little bit
Last
scary.
thing I want to
Yeah.
discuss before we wrap it up.
That's
Oh,
scary. That's
man.
really
Oh,
scary. Are you
And
not
then
scared to see that, Jackus? That's really scary,
Uh,
man.
you should be scared.
I know about this stuff, so that's why I say I'm fucking scared. I told you we cannot lose this level because like look at this motherfucker. Like there's so much confluence that we just need to hold. You know, it's even more clean if we go logarithmic. You know,
If we
Uh,
lose that line, I don't even know where to target, man. Like it's so low. If we lose, look at that thing.
0.
Where do you even target?
You target
If we lose
0.
that level, you have to target like $400 or something.
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about. And I was saying, be careful
Oh,
what you wish for, guys. We fucking need to hold this because I think it's literally over if you lose that. I don't know. Again, I wouldn't even know what to like target. Like I would say the first thing I would target probably is like, you know, make a range here and you know and
deviation of the low. Yeah, because we had a
yeah,
deviation of range high, so deviation of low maybe.
yeah, and then what here, you know, what?
Ugh.
Just
I mean,
just
Goblin Town. Yeah.
Goblin Town, literally. You know.
That's scary, man. That legacy trend line that you had going all the way back to like 2015 or 16, wherever it started.
Yeah, it started.
That's
It started. Yeah, 16.
that's concerning. That all right. Well, we'll see what happens.
And then I still think that, you know, using the logarithmic charts is super important because, like, again, if I go back to NDX and was it? Yeah, and then, you know, we're gonna use this channel, then it's fucking incredible how long shit, how long this has been working, right? Like
Wow.
seriously, if you were not doing anything else, this is the one I talked about in the article on Because Bitcoin, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like it's fucking crazy, you know. This is on logarithmic chart, and like these were literally the two most important levels, and I think it's the same with Ether right now. Just you know,
Oh gosh.
I don't know.
I don't know. There's part of me that's like, I would love to see it break because it would be entertaining. And I also, it doesn't change my long-term outlook on the crypto asset class, but also that would imply multiple years of pain, you
Yeah,
know, and that'd be difficult, you know, but
that would be.
yeah, but I kind of think it's going to break. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, it doesn't look like it wants to hold,
It
truthfully.
doesn't. It doesn't. I hope like so many times when it didn't look so it looked bad, you know, in the past times it
Yeah.
always looked bad and then somehow it reversed. So let's just hope because you know I think there would be lots of suicides if this does break down. And
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because people, if ETH went to $400, I mean, man, people. Here's the thing about crypto: is it always goes way higher than you think and way lower than you think. And
yeah.
it's just pain. It's pain no matter what. Uh, you
But
either
then
sell too early or you bought too late. You know, so it's like people are probably thinking that they could bid $1,200 or $1,300 Ethereum, and that's cheap. Imagine people, you know, knife catching a $1,200 Ethereum, being excited about buying the dip, and then it goes to $350. I mean, you're not wrong. Like people would literally kill themselves. It'd be over. People would lose everything.
I think we still need to keep this in mind because
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, it's a really good fractal with the prices as well. But yeah, we even retested this monthly candle of this bullish. Like, I don't know. It's not looking good, but we need to hold it.
Well, you're on the monthly. There's a monthly order block that could be tested down there on ETH. Yeah, right there. I think that's your last line of defense, truthfully, because then it could be a deviation of that trend line, the legacy trend line that you have,
Yeah,
like the big diagonal one. So if we deviated that, everybody thinks we're going to $300, and we hold at that monthly order block. That could be a good level too.
But I still have a problem with that scenario because the monthly is essentially this one, and
Yeah.
and we've discussed this one. If we again put in the range and we put in the trend line, we have with this one, because this was one like that broken the range highs. If we do come back here and we agreed on this as well, the problem is we break the structure, we lose the range low, we lose the trend, and sure we probably bounce, but like, and who know how high.
Lower high. Yeah, you bounce into a lower high. Yeah.
That's the problem.
I mean, maybe it ends up like what happened in March, where it ends up being a giant wick. So
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
that would be a yeah.
I'm okay if we do this. If we do this and quickly rebuy, then okay, this is doable. We could even say like, okay, whatever.
It has
Then
to hold that mid range. It has to. That's
it has to. Yeah.
It has to. Otherwise, it's ogre, man.
This is your invalidation. You can just YOLO now with your mortgage and pray. But if you lose this, we're fucked.
I mean, I like it in the sense that you have very clear invalidation, right? Like if you wanted to play here, if you wanted to try to buy some ETH here, you know where you're wrong.
Yeah.
But it's scary because I think a lot of people probably recognize what you do, Jackus, and it's going to be a very, very narrow doorway with a lot of people trying to get out if we start slipping below 1,400 or 1,350.
Yeah. Do they though? Do
Probably
people
not.
see these levels?
They're watching the show. Yeah, I don't know.
They're watching the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is not looking that good.
No, it doesn't. Because I mean, I think the fact that we sold off so quickly and aggressively after the Grayscale quote unquote victory over the SEC, it's like each time this year we've had bullish ETF news, the subsequent pumps to follow have been more muted. This was the most muted pump that we've had all year on SEC being beaten or spot ETF news, and it got sold off quicker. So it's like the market's digesting this news a lot differently than it was 3 months ago.
Yeah.
So I think it's arguably priced in. And two, I think the market's saying, yeah, we know we're going to get a spot ETF, but it's going to be probably after the halving. So I think that was kind of like your last chance to pump off of this low. But
when is the next deadline?
We were talking about it this morning. Yeah, they all got pushed back. I'll have to get hang on. It was actually in our Discord. Let me just double check. I think it was here. It was the second deadline. I think they got pushed back to October 16th, I think, is the next one. I think.
Yeah.
Give or take. That's the last I heard. Maybe it's changed, but I think a little bit over a month from now.
Yeah. Well, let's hope we hold till then.
It doesn't look good, brother. But all right, we'll hope. All right, let's call it here. We've been going for 2 hours.
Let's call it here.
We'll save some stuff. We can't share all the alpha in one show, man. We gotta portion it out. All right, guys, thanks so much for being here. Jackus, big thank you to you as well for joining us spontaneously. Guys, if you haven't yet, please consider liking the video as well as subscribing to the channel. This is Market Check, brought to you by Because Bitcoin. We go live every single day at the exact same time, so you can count on us being here. So guys, thanks so much again for being here, and we will see you Monday. Monday at basically 11 a.m. Eastern time. So guys, have a great weekend and take care.
Cheers.